Brazen Canadian coyotes smuggling migrants across the northern border, even advertising on TikTok. Smugglers are brazenly using TikTok to advertise their human trafficking services across the Canada-US border, undercutting the Great White North's position as it tries to hammer out a critical deal with the US on tariffs and security, the Post has learned. For close to a year, the Canadian Coyotes, who largely target Indian nationals, promise a hassle-free trip to the States for as much as $5,000, with new border crossing accounts popping up every time others are removed from the platform. The posts often feature a U.S. flag waving over a wooded northern border, set to Indian music, urging wannabe border crossers to DM them for more details. Payment after reach reads one post, while another assures 100% safe. The competition can be cutthroat. $4,000 cheapest in market, one post reads. Northern crossings have fallen from an average of around 4,500 Indian nationals nabbed each month before President Trump took office to 2,900 since, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data. But the Post has identified at least half a dozen of these coyote accounts still operating on TikTok. The Post contacted one smuggler who said it would cost $4,500 for one person to get to cross into the Empire State from Montreal. "When you're ready to go, send me your ID," he said. The trips leave from either Montreal, Brampton, outside Toronto, and Surrey, outside Vancouver. They deliver migrants to upstate New York or Washington State, according to the TikTok accounts the Post has reviewed. To New York, the journey includes a 2-hour car ride and a 25-minute trek through the forest through an unguarded stretch of land where the migrants are given a map to guide them across the border outside official checkpoints in Champlain and Moores, NY. Up to 5 migrants are taken at a time for a group walk, the Coyote told the Post. And like legitimate business, the accounts often feature testimonials in Punjabi from satisfied customers, bragging about how easy and even comfortable the journey was. "The service was outstanding. We have come through very easily," gushed one. For smugglers, the Canada-US border has long been viewed as an easy hustle. Last year, the Post spoke to residents living alongside the border who testified to how often they see illegal crossings. It's the longest land border in the world, and unlike the US-Mexico border, it's largely unguarded outside of official crossing points, since much of it is wilderness. "They call it a border, but you can cross anytime you want," said Shinder Purewal, a political scientist at Kwantlen Polytechnic University in British Columbia. "It's really an undefended border. Nobody is on basically either side." For smugglers, Indian nationals make up a niche market, but a thriving one. In 2024, Indians made up almost a quarter of those apprehended crossing the United States northern border illegally, by far the largest group according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data. Each day, more than 100 Indian nationals on average are caught by agents at the Canada-US border. The number has tripled in the last 2 years, according to the data. Most often, they enter Canada on student visas. Last year, the country's Department of Immigration estimated 50,000 students were let in, but never showed up to school. 20,000 of them were from India. This type of behavior is indicative of the culture of incompetence and just how brazen drug trafficking and human smuggling had become under the previous administration, said Rep. Jeff Andrew, RNJ. "Well, I've got news for these criminals. There's a new sheriff in town." Crossings at the southern border have virtually slowed to a halt since Trump took office. So far in February, about 359 illegal migrants per day have been caught across the entire southern border, down more than 90% from the same month last year, according to leaked Customs and Border Protection data. Trump threatened earlier this month to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian exports to the U.S., saying it was not doing enough to police its side of the border. The U.S. agreed to stall the tariffs for 30 days after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised to push ahead with a $1.3 billion border security plan that includes 10,000 Border Patrol agents and 24/7 surveillance with the use of drones and helicopters. But the TikTok coyotes throw a monkey wrench into the negotiations. In the absence of Canadian border security, it is difficult to imagine the trade and other relations between the two neighbors will continue as normal, said Purewal. Rep. Nicole Maliotakis, RNY, called for a federal probe after being told of the hustle by the Post.